Welcome back to the LCP Digital Learning Channel. Today I have a quick tip for you on how to add conditional formatting into the Numbers app to where you can create some really quick conditional formatting for walkthroughs, for behavior management, for grade keeping, and it will organize everything by color so that you can quickly visualize who needs to be circled back to for a reteach, who's ready to go on to the next activity, and will help you with some of those really fast, on-the-spot formative assessments. So let's jump right in. Okay, so here I am in Numbers. Let me show you a couple examples first, and then we will walk through how I did some of these. So for example, this one is a quick report card hotspot that I made. So what you could do is up here at the top, you could have your different TEKS, your different learning standards, just the goal of what you've taught today to see if kids have done it. So once you've taught a lesson, I've got down here on track. So maybe as I'm walking around watching those kids work, I can do on track, on track. That kid didn't quite get it. Let me get an E. Ooh, that kid's way behind. Let me do an I. Ooh, not as good as well. On track, on track, on track. And then when I'm done, what I could do is touch up here, column actions, sort ascending. And so now all of a sudden I can see this student was emerging. These two students might need to come back to my table and do a reteach. These kiddos are good to go, so maybe I push them a little bit farther and they're ready to go. Or for example, I've got one for behavior. So when I click this, it can be happy face turns green. Ooh, maybe during the morning time, not quite great. That turns yellow. Ugh, had a really rough time during this period. Or you can do these as drop-down menus as well of how focused they are. Here is a definition of those behaviors. Or even for students, they could track their own learning. And so right here, maybe during the second 6 weeks, I've done some conditional formatting to where if the student got a 55 on this question or on this quiz, when they press return, it turns red. That's telling the student not quite where we want them. Maybe on quiz 2, 85. That's what I'm talking about. Project 2, 95, did great. And then, ooh, maybe that test, 79, not amazing. And then I've got it to where it's averaging the kid's grade down here at the bottom, which is yellow, which shows that the kid maybe is not quite where we want them, but at least passing. All right, so there's some examples of what it would look like to use some of this conditional formatting. So I'm gonna open up a new sheet just to show you how I did this. So I know I want to format these cells right here on this sheet. So what I'm gonna do is highlight everything right here. You're gonna touch this paintbrush right here. When I get to this paintbrush, the first thing I wanna do is touch format. So I'm gonna click format. I want this to be a pop-up menu. So I'm gonna press the I next to pop-up menu. This gives me some item choices right here. So what I'm gonna do is maybe that first item choice, I'm gonna make this into O for on track. The second item choice, I'm gonna do E for emerging. And then this third item choice, I'm gonna do I for improvement needed. And then I definitely wanna make sure on this initial value, I'm gonna turn this as blank. This is gonna make sure that over here on the side, nothing shows up until I've made a choice. So let's see what that looks like. So I'm just gonna click away. Now these are all drop-down menus, which this is great, except when I click these, it just is white. I want this to be colored. So I'm gonna make sure I'm still highlighting these. So now that I have highlighted what I want to change, inside the paintbrush, I'm gonna go over to cell. When I go to cell, down here at the bottom, you see add conditional highlighting. When I click add conditional highlighting, this is where I can start doing some if then that statement, or if this then that statements. So numbers, text, dates. So for example, I'm gonna go to text. If the text is an O, so if the text is an O, it's going to be green. So I'm gonna click green, and then I'm gonna press done. Now it says text is O, green. I'm gonna add a rule. Go to text is E, improvement needing. It's gonna be yellow. Done. And then I'm gonna add a rule. Text is, if it's an I, improvement needing, I'm gonna do it as red. So however you choose for these to be colored, and then when I click done, now as I change these over on the right-hand side, O changes one color, E changes another color, I changes to red. So now these drop-down menus will also color code themselves. All right, so that's how we can do the conditional formatting for letters, but I'm gonna add another new sheet. Let's talk about numbers. So maybe on these, I want student names to be on this side, Maybe I want the semester to be up here, but on these right here, I want the kid to be able to add numbers to these of the grades that they get. So again, I'm going to go into Format. I want them to be numbers inside of this. And then again, back to Cell. Here is that Add Conditional Highlighting. The first thing that I want to do is if it's blank, so blank is blank, I want this one to do Custom Style. I want this to be white, which means if there's nothing in there, it's going to be white. Then I click Done. Add the rule. I want less than or equal to for this grade. So if it's less than or equal to 69, I want it to be red. Done. So now if I put 69 in here and press Return, it's going to turn red. Okay, so let me highlight these again. I'm going to Cell, Add a Rule. If it's less than or equal to maybe 79, I want that to be yellow, which is going to tell the kid you did pass, but it's not quite where we want it. Done. And then the last one, add a rule. Less than or equal to 100 is going to be blue. That way, when they're done, this kid can come over here and maybe they got an 89 on this one. That'll turn blue. That's where we want them to be. If it's like 55, ooh, not great right there. So as you can see, using conditional formatting right here, you're able to change what it does when there's numbers, text, even dates, duration. So these numbers would be super handy for adding scores and things of that nature. But for me, I think it's going to be most powerful to do just really quick formative assessments to where you're walking around the room and you're just keeping track of, do these kids know those different skills? And then I can sort those and circle back to those kids that I know need a little bit extra support. All right, I hope that tip was helpful. You guys have a great day.